talk about something that is just insanely culturally relevant right now. Because, there have been 500 Battlefront games since the disappointing one.
Right.
So now we can talk about this. Just kidding, it's because Rogue One came out a while ago. And everybody's crazy for Star Wars again. And Battlefront 1, or Battlefront 3, or whatever you want to call it. Battlefront crap, Battlefront the letdown.
Wow. What a gutsy statement.
I like the game, but it's not very good.
I do too. I really like the game. But there's a lot of stuff
content. There's no content.
Yeah.
It has no staying power as a game. It's like a game that you own that you turn on for an hour every couple months and you think, man, this could have been great.
Yeah.
And then you turn it off and you go about your life.
Well, I think me and you, like when it initially launched, we put in a lot of hours. And this game was really just because of the Star Wars nostalgia. But then now it's gotten to the point, new Star Wars movie comes out and it's like, oh, okay, I'll play this for a little bit. I'm excited. And then put it back in my shelves. Yeah.
It even got a Rogue One DLC, which was cool,
I
guess. I didn't want to buy it.
No.
Oh, you want me to pay $15 for a DLC for a game that already has nothing in it? Yeah, sure, why not? No, thanks.
You got me.
I did buy the first DLC.
I haven't bought any of them.
Outer Rim. Well, you're lucky. Sounds like you actually used your mind.
I did. It was a great...
They mind tricked me. EA showed up at my house. They were like, this is the game you're looking for. And I said, no, it's not. Where's Rise of the Empire? And they said, you want the DLC. And I was like, I want the DLC. And they were like, you should give us your credit card. And I was like, I will give you my credit card.
Is that exactly how it went?
Yeah,
that's exactly...
Then they said, move along.
They said they came to your house and then said, move along.
Yeah, and I said, move along.
Move
along.
What?
But
okay.
I did get that first DLC. It
didn't look like anything was happening with it.
Nien Num, the guy who goes in episode 6.
Wait, what is he like? Oh, okay.
And then it added in Greedo, the guy Han shot in like one scene.
I had an emotional connection with that guy.
Yeah, everyone's favorite character, Greedo. So dumb. Okay, the original trilogy, as great as it is, does not have enough characters to sustain adding in DLC heroes.
Well, I think that brings in what we're really going to talk about, which is Battlefront 2.
Well,
which is coming in.
And the content problem with this first game.
Yeah.
Because I told you, if the second game is this game, just like slightly different, I'm not buying it.
No, they need to add a lot of stuff. Because, it's coming end of 2017, and they have a lot of changes. Like, they said that they paid attention to the forums, and that they've been keeping an eye on what they need to fix and what they need to add.
Maybe they should have kept an eye on what the original Battlefront actually did that made it fun.
That's true.
Because those games were not perfect, but they lasted a long time. There was a lot of different stuff you could do on it. And I didn't think it was boring at all. Like, I didn't get bored playing them. I get bored playing this game. That's a problem.
Yeah. That's not a good thing.
No. And we added in skirmish mode so you can play as the hero, or not the heroes, but you can play as these characters against the AI. Oh, great. Well, one, should have been in the game in the first place. And two, it's just not even done well. It's not even implemented well. The AI is absolutely just really stupid if you try the skirmish mode. I would almost say worse than Battlefront 2's AI, which is really bad. And I don't know, it's so much of a multiplayer only game. And there's nothing to the multiplayer even.
And that's what they need to focus on, I think, for Battlefront 2. And they have said and mentioned that they are doing a story mode, offline story mode. It's been confirmed, and they brought in a whole nother studio to work on this.
That could either be really good or really bad.
I think it'll at least be something, because they brought in a whole nother gaming studio to come in and work on this. And they've said, hey, listen, we don't want this to be a story that's just there, it's kind of irrelevant, and then you go to the multiplayer and, oh, that's a great time, I love doing multiplayer. The story was whatever. They're focused, and they want that to be connected and actually have an impact on the game,
Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing. And I don't know, I feel like the original Battlefront 1 and 2, they had multiplayer, and 2 skewed more towards multiplayer than 1 did, but they were not multiplayer centered. It was a thing you could do. It was not the thing you could do. And with Battlefront 1, it is Battlefront EA 1, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They've made that really confusing. It's the thing you can do. There's really nothing else. There is survival, I guess. It sucks. It's not fun.
It's not fun.
They did it really poorly. Like, and survival modes can be really fun.
Oh, for sure.
But
there's a lot of examples of that, yeah.
Yeah, like even MW3 has a great survival mode, and the game sucks. It's like one of the worst Call of Duties ever. Like, no one likes MW3. And like, even that's like a shining, you know what I mean? Like, example of like a good piece of a bad game. But like, they screwed that up. The multiplayer doesn't have any staying power either. There's a few solo missions, I guess. Most of them are terrible.
Well, I think that's one thing that's like really important that they work on too, is adding where with this game, sure, we put in a lot of hours and just enjoy it because it's fun nostalgia, it's a really good time, but like there's no rewards really for doing anything. And the guns, which have like when it launched with the Han Solo gun, and we bought that deluxe edition, and we got the DL-44, and then they nerfed it, and they continued. It was kind of
pay to win though too.
That's a problem too. That's a problem too. But I mean, there's not really guns that you earn that kind of get better and better. No, it's just kind of like
they're all bad. There's like maybe 4 good guns in the base game. There's probably like 4 good guns, right? Probably. And then some of the DLC guns are good. Some of them I just don't even like playing with. And the problem comes back to the fact of like what you mentioned to me was that like whether the prequel trilogy was good or not, like that's not really the point. It added in like a lot of stuff to the Star Wars universe, like characters and stuff that like needed to be there. And those things are pretty much all expanded on in the Clone Wars show, which actually is really good. So like those characters can be done well, whether the movies did them well or not. I would argue that they didn't do them that well. But they can be done well. And the problem is that like without that content, without these extra characters, like the extra Jedi, the extra bounty hunters, the clone troopers, the droid army, all this stuff, you have 2 armies. You have the Rebels and you have the Empire. And then you have like maybe 3 significant characters on each side of them in the movies, like Luke, Han, and Leia. They don't really belong in the game. You know what I mean? Like, they had to stretch to find these heroes and villains. And that's because they threw away half the source material they had to work with.
Well, I think that's one thing that they've mentioned, too, is in this next game, they're going to move towards the newer stuff. And that's the thing, too, is I hope they keep some of the older stuff, and they keep that in, and they mix that in, and then they use the plethora of characters that are in the other, what is it now, 6? Or no, is it 5 extra movies?
We got Rogue One, 1, 2, 3... and 7, so 5.
So 5.
So there'll be 8 by the time Battlefront launches.
So that'll be 6 movies of pretty cool characters, I think, that could work really well in the video game. And then even building off of the PS2 games too, adding in the modes like Hero Assault that you cannot do with this game because there's 6 good people to play with. Where if you have the new stuff, you can play Hero Assault, you can do all this stuff. And I hope they add cool offline game modes too, but also more interesting online ones.
You need instant action back. You need Galactic Conquest back, which I showed you because you didn't play the first
not
one
much,
and 2
no,
very
not
much. Because I think you were younger than me at the time, and I was pretty young when 1 launched. But like Galactic Conquest was a mode where you could kind of move around almost a board, like at least in Battlefront 2, it was almost like a board game. And then you'd like reach planets and fleets to attack. And then you would like move in and you would like capture these planets one at a time using boosts and stuff. And it was like kind of strategy / resource driven. But like there's nothing like that in EA Battlefront at all. And like I get that they say, oh, we learned from our mistakes. But even if you look at Battlefield 1, like the newest game, which is, I would argue, a lot better of like a competitive shooter and like as having actual content. Yeah, like they have more stuff, but they don't have enough still. Like Battlefield 1 is another game that is like a good template for future games, but there's not enough in it really either without buying the DLC.
Right.
And that's like a problem a lot of these shooters are having is like, oh, we want to milk the DLC. We want to, sell this stuff as like extra content. It's like, but then your base game launches with nothing in it. So like, where's the balance there?
You get the bone dry launch, and then you don't really keep your audience, and that's part of the problem that No Man's Sky had too when it launched. It launched, and everyone's like, well, "What the heck do I do in this?"
Yeah, there's nothing to do.
And it's different because with this game, we were, and a ton of people were super excited when it launched because it's Star Wars. I get to play as, you know, a stormtrooper. I get to play as Darth Vader, whatever. And Heroes vs. Villains is an awesome game mode.
It's the only one worth playing.
And that's the problem. That's the problem.
It's like the only thing worth playing in the game. There's nothing else worth doing unless you're going for the trophies.
Right.
And like, I put 65 hours into the game, so like that's not a small amount. That's not a lot for like a big, huge, you know, Star Wars shooter, but it's not a small amount. But like, once I got like the trophies for survival, I'm never touching that again. You know, because it's not fun. And like, if I wasn't like OCD, I wouldn't have even gotten those.
Right. And that's why I hope in the new one that they do some more innovative stuff and that they actually add stuff on online and offline and really go after those characters that we didn't see at all in this one. That, I mean, when you have Greedo and all of these characters that don't really matter, and it's
they don't matter.
For even, like, I like Star Wars, I'm not a diehard, but like, I want to be able to recognize the characters.
I would say it's a lot easier to do crap Star Wars than it is to do good Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but the thing is, like, those characters, the prequel characters are necessary. And like, 3's not a bad movie. Not amazing, but it's not bad. And like, you really could have used things like Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, the droids, the clones, Anakin Skywalker, like, without the bad acting.
Yeah.
Jango Fett. Like, and
Yoda, Count Dooku.
Yeah.
All Darth Maul. I mean, think about all the awesome characters that are iconic. Even though not all these movies are good movies by any means, but they're super cool characters. Yeah. But like, just, I mean, having these characters in the game and having that extra element and making it interesting even for people that aren't die-hard Star Wars people, where it's like, I can go play as Yoda and be able to do that would be really cool. And I think that would help add some content and some sustenance to the game, you know?
Well, and content is, like I said, it's the big killer, because this is something we've been finding out in like the new series we've been doing, Traumatic Trash, where like we go through these movies, or not movies, these games. Movies would be interesting too.
That would be cool, yeah.
But we go through these games that like should be good, you know, like they look like they would be good, but they're garbage. They're absolute garbage. And like, that's something we saw in the Harry Potter game, is like, you can have a cool license and screw up. And that's what I would say the first Battlefront kind of is. It's not that level of bad. It's just a disappointment. And that's kind of where I'm sitting for Battlefront 2. I don't really have faith in it. I know the things I want, like I said, but I don't expect them to be there.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd like to see in trailers and in future things, which I'm sure are going to actually be coming out within the next couple months, to get, you know, steam rolling for that game, because they said it's coming out late 2017. So I'm assuming they're going to start launching these trailers, and what I hope that they show is some of these improvements and some additions, new characters, what the story, I mean, just like, you know, just a general, what are we looking for in a story? What are we going to get in a story? What are you adding in? What are you going to make so that we are enticed for more than a couple months for a $70 game?
And I don't want it to be Call of Duty. That's not my point, but like, when you buy a Call of Duty even now, like if you and I went out and bought Infinite Warfare tomorrow, as much as we dislike the game, we wouldn't be bored of it. You know what I mean? Like, it always feels like there's stuff to do in those games, whether you're doing the same thing or not. Like, you remember how many hours we put into like Call of Duty games, especially the earlier ones? And like, it's not because of the license, you know? You're not playing as some iconic character, you're just a guy. But like, it's fun. And like, it sustains itself. And there's the campaign, there's the multiplayer, and there's always a third mode. Some kind of survival, or some kind of like zombies, or whatever. And like, all of them are always fun. There's never one of them that's not fun. Like, even the campaigns that are terrible are fun.
Because they have cool missions, and it's just stuff to do, and there's substance there. There's something there. It's better to have something there than nothing at all.
Even Ghosts is a fun campaign. It's terrible. Yeah. There's nothing good about the story at all, but it's fun. And like, that's, I don't know, I want that kind of level of like self-sustaining whatever out of this game. And like, I feel like the DLC, milking it for maps and milking it for characters, I get that's the way games are going, whatever. But like, I feel like at a point that's also pulling content out of something that already didn't have content in it. Because even if you own all the DLC, I don't really think there's $60 worth of content in the game, even with all the extra heroes. So I feel like that's a big problem, and like, that's kind of what I want to see out of the next one, is a game that feels like it was worth buying. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for checking this out. We appreciate it. If you liked the video, please drop us a like. And if you enjoy this kind of stuff, subscribe. And let us know if you have any kind of ideas or suggestions for videos you want to see. We're trying to take community feedback right now from our subscribers moving into the future. So thanks a lot. We really appreciate you, and we'll catch you later.